Hello everyone, welcome back to the platformer lessons. This will be another short lesson to show and explain the practice session that was assigned in the previous lesson. If you haven't tried it yet, please do so before moving on. For this practice session, your task was to create a level timer. First, we need to create the level time variable. I recommended giving level 1 a 30-second time limit. But since we want it to be in frames, we need to multiply 30 by 60. Now you can do the math for this and set it equal to 1800. You can also do a cool trick to save yourself some math. If you want it to be 30 seconds, you can just type 30 times 60 and have the computer do the math for you. Whenever you want to change the time, you can just change this number and the computer will update the math for you. Next, we need to put a text object on the screen to show the level time. For the text component, I'm going to put the level time in there. And its X position and Y position are going to be at the top right part of the screen. So I'm going to say about 550 and 300. I'm going to use the same size and color as the health text. So I need the font size equal to 60 and the color equal to white. Since I'm doing this inside the level 1 start, make sure you set the room to level 1 to test it. Now if you're like me and you're setting up the time text before all the other objects, you're going to run into the same problem we ran into a long time ago. The time text shows up behind all the other objects. Instead of moving the code around this time, I'm going to show you another trick. In addition to the x-axis and the y-axis, there's also a z-axis. That controls how far away from the camera the object is. I'll show you how to use it. If I say self.timetext .z, I can set it equal to a number. If the z is bigger than 0, it's going to show up in front of everything else here. And if I move over here, I can take a look at it. Now I need to be updating its position just like we do for the health text. I also don't want it to say 1800 over here. I want it to say 30. So there's two things I need to do here. To show the proper level time, we can do a trick that's similar to this one. If we want to display 30 and then counting down instead of 1800, what we can do is divide this by 60. Notice how we use a slash instead of a division symbol. That's just how math works on computers. Next, so let's say self.timetext.x equals self.astro. Remember, in order to get the player's position, we're saying astro here, plus 550. And we say self.timetext.y equals self.astro.y plus about 335. That'll keep the timer text at the top right of the screen. But as you can see, it's not actually counting down. For that, we need to not only count down the variable itself, but also update the time text component. So let's count down the level time. Next, we'll update the text component of the time text to make sure it always updates. So I say timetext.text equals self.levelTime, and once again divided by 60. so that while the level time is counting down from 1800, we're only seeing the proper time in seconds. And just like that, we've got the time in the top right corner. Now see how it has a decimal afterwards? I'm going to show you another trick to get rid of that. But first, let me show you what's actually going on. If I set this equal to 400, you'll see a lot of chaos going on with that number. The computer is including all the decimals every time it runs the frame, or every time it runs the code. In order to fix that, we can round to the closest number. Python has a function set up just for this purpose. If we type round, and then put the rest of the equation inside these brackets, like so, it's going to round whatever number is inside here to the nearest integer. So we won't see those decimals anymore. So I'm going to set the position back to where it was, 550. And there it goes. The final step was checking if the timer reaches 0, and if so, we'll reset the level. This is fairly simple. We want to check if the self.levelTime is less than or equal to 0. We'll set the room to be level 1. Now if you want to make sure this is working, a quick way to do that is to set the level time equal to a small number, like 3. Once it reaches 0, it should reset back normally. Now you might see an error show up at the bottom. Don't worry about this one. There's nothing going wrong that'll break our game. And the players will not see it. Make sure that you set your timer back to 30 and add this code to level 2 and 3 and give them each their own timer as well. The next lesson will cover moving platforms. I'll see you there.